Hello Tom. Well, I got the old girl out and I just thought I would do a quick video for you. This is a 1978 Triumph Spitfire 1500. I bought this car, my son's 36 and I bought it for his 15th birthday to get him to stop playing with computers and all these video games, and I wanted him to learn about cars, so we bought this one and it was actually in really good shape. It was no body damage, no rust. It was a horrible purple color. The original color was blue, the Triumph blue color, but it was a purple color, so he wanted green, so we did this, which I think very attractive green, which was almost the same as one of the original colors of green for this car. Spitfires came in different models. They came in, the early ones were Mark 1s, and then there was a Mark 2, and I think the prettiest of them all was the Mark 3, which is probably the most desirable one, the Mark 3s. And then they came out with a Mark 4, and the Mark 4 and the 1500 are pretty well identical except for the engine size. Most of them had 1149 cc, and then they came out with a 1300. I think the Mark 4 was the first one with the 1300 motor, and then they came out with this one in the early 70s. It's got the 1500 engine, which is, as it says, Triumph Spitfire 1500, no mark number, just 1500. We did a lot of work on this one. It's not correct, everything. I mean, the bodywork is correct, the ugly American bumpers are correct, which I'm going to take them off eventually, but it's quite a bit of work. There's quite a bit of welding have to be done and a lot of cutting. But we did change the interior because they had a horrible vinyl interior and they were really hot to ride in. So we did this interior, which was quite nice, and it's lasted really well. I mean, this car was worked on almost 20 years ago. It took a year to do, and it's still looking pretty good. Though there's a few things like the foam in the seats here is starting to disintegrate over the years. Like here, you can see it's virtually nothing there. So this winter, I have a friend who's an upholsterer, and he will do that for me. I wish it had the wire wheels. It doesn't. It has these pressed steel wheels, which are original, and that's okay. The other thing it's got, which is not original, it's got an SU carburetor on it. In the UK, they came with twin Strongbirds, and Strongbirds are not a good carb to work with. I mean, they're okay. They work. SUs are much better, and so a lot of people actually fitted twin SUs on them. When I bought this one, it had a Delorto, an Italian downdraft, sort of a Weber copy, and it was just over carbureted. It was over choked, and it was horrible in the bottom end. So I actually took it off and I put a single SU on, because the single SU is so much easier to look after. I'll get the bonnet open on it here and show you inside. We actually haven't touched the motor on this car. It's pretty well as the day I got it. We've done adjusted tappets, but the head has not been off. Let's get this up here. Hold on a second, it's a little hard by myself. There we go. There, so there's the motor. I mean, it's pretty clean and no oil leaks. It's never leaked oil. The only things that are not quite original in the front here is it had an electric pump on it when I got it, a fuel pump, and I took that off and put in the back onto the mechanical pump down here, which I much prefer. Works much better. And I installed a fuel filter, which they didn't have on them. And I think that is the only mods on it. We upgraded the brakes on it. We found different. They had a disc brake. They're a disc brake. You can see they're a little rusty because it's been sitting over the winter and the condensation gets on it. So we went with new disc brakes and slightly bigger disc brakes, and I did that probably about 10 years ago. And that is pretty well it. Everything else is as it was when we got it. We did this little motive Spitfire on the headrest, which I thought was sort of neat. It gets a lot of attention when it goes out. People like it. When I was younger, I would never have bought a Spitfire. I was more into the MGBs. I had a couple of MGBs, GT, and they were a much nicer car, really, I think, to drive. But you know what? These were actually quite handy to drive. They're Italian design. I think the fellow's name was Giovanni Michelotti. I think his name was Michelotti. I think he designed this car. I keep thinking it was Scaglietti, but it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was Michelotti. And they do handle quite well. It's surprisingly well. You put the right tires on, and I might change the wheels on it. I might put Minolites on it. And it's on what they call a collector's plate here, which is really good because for the whole year it's like under $100, you know, really to insure this thing for the summer and pretty well the whole year. So they cost nothing to run, and of course they're good on fuel. But other than that, that's the car. I thought you'd be interested in seeing a 1978 clean, totally rust-free Triumph Spitfire, which is pretty rare. Other than that, not much else I can tell you. I hope you enjoyed that little video, and this will be my winter project again. There's a few things like I have to clean up, like a little bit of surface rust on these places. It all comes off with a wire wheel. It's amazing how you can clean this up, you know, and just, you know, they sit in the garage all winter with the humidity here. It's not good. I've never had, this is the first year I've seen it with any sort of surface rust on the bare metal, and that is purely because we had a mild winter with a high humidity. And I think this coming winter I'm going to have to put this with some heat in my garage, which I will do. All right, that's the story of the 1978 Triumph Spitfire 1500.